Hi, Grandpa. I've been meaning to explain this for a while. You keep hearing fragments in my messages, words like citadels, resonance, integration, but I realize you don't have the full map. So let me give you the timeline, the one that shaped the world I live in. We call it the Long Unraveling. But that name doesn't mean it was all falling apart. It means something old was loosening so something new could grow. It started during your lifetime in what we now call the sixth Kondratieff Cycle, 2020-2080, the intelligence age. This era was marked by a breakdown of centralized systems and the slow emergence of distributed post-global societies. Everything eroded: debt spirals, energy scarcity, institutions losing credibility, supply chains snapped, cities became unstable, governance turned into theater. And something else happened too, quiet but seismic. AI began producing content at scale, so much, so fast that social media collapsed under its own weight. The signal-to-noise ratio flipped. People stopped trusting what they saw. Narratives blurred. Influence became untraceable. For many, it was destabilizing. Jobs evaporated overnight, especially in media, marketing, education, even design. Entire identities built around creation and career began to crumble. It triggered what we now call the ego test, a mass reckoning with self-worth, purpose, and control. Some didn't make it through whole, but it wasn't just work that had to be redefined, it was learning. Amid the collapse, one of the most profound shifts came in how we raised and educated our children. We realized we couldn't prepare them for a known future. So instead, we began preparing them for emergence. That's how we created the curriculum of becoming. By 2140, nearly every piece of human knowledge is stored in the neural cloud, what we now call the A field. Anything can be downloaded. But wisdom, that still takes resonance. So children are raised not to memorize, but to remember themselves. From ages 7 to 17, they work with resonance mentors, guides who help them track when they feel most alive, most useful. Instead of tests, they write alignment journals. Instead of career goals, they discover frequencies. We call these their contribution paths. They form the compass for how each person offers themselves to their community. And that shift toward purpose, coherence, and emotional fluency was key to surviving the intelligence age. When the centralized structures finally collapsed, they cleared space for something more intelligent to emerge. Decentralized coordination, local trust, purpose-based alignment. Bitcoin helped us anchor that shift, not just financially, but psychologically. It gave people a way to opt out quietly and start building something new. And so, 3 technologies quietly reshaped civilization. AI gave us cognition at scale. Robotics automated physical tasks. 3D printing plus material. AI allowed us to make what we needed where we were. The result? Labor became optional. Production went local. Trade became data. Identity went on-chain. Economies became regenerative. Instead of employment, people started aligning with purpose. Instead of borders, we had protocols. Instead of careers, we had contribution paths. And money? Bitcoin. It became the silent exit. No protest, just opt-out. That age ended in 2080. Then came the 7th Kondratieff Cycle, 2080-2140, the integration age. This is the world I was born into. The integration age wasn't about what we built. It was about how we became. The dominant forces weren't physical. They were emotional, relational, spiritual. For the first time, coherence became more valuable than productivity. Technology still played a role. Planetary design systems guided us to live bioregionally and beyond. This is when human habitation expanded to Mars. The red soil became part of our bioregional logic, our planetary consciousness. AI-human symbiosis mirrored and clarified our own perception. It allowed deeply attuned individuals to record their inner experiences, dreams, intuitions, somatic visions, and translate them into coherent signal fields. Consciousness tech helped us map resonance, heal trauma, and create coherence. Wealth was no longer about accumulation. It became alignment. We lived in citadels, each capped around 150 people, what you'd know as the Dunbar number. Travel wasn't escape, it was pollination. Leadership was shared. Governance came from feeling and function. And now, I'm writing to you from the first years of the 8th Kondratieff Cycle, 2140-2200, the consciousness age. This age didn't begin with invention, it began with remembrance. We discovered that consciousness isn't bound by time or space, and with that, new technologies emerged. Reverse time signaling, messages encoded into quantum memory, sent backward. Deep space consciousness sync, resonance-based communication with non-Earth intelligence, fifth-dimensional contact, interactions through archetypal fields. And here's what most people don't understand. These technologies didn't work through machinery alone. They required practice, elaborate, long-term, inner practice. Most children in citadels now begin some form of meditative training by age 6. Breathwork, dream work, symbolic tracking. It became a cultural norm. But there were always a few with rare capacities, seers, patterners, resonance savants. Those could access all information anywhere, anytime. They simply connected to the field. Back in your time, some called it the Akashic field or the Akashic record. This is when we as a society truly realized that time was an illusion. And by the way, in that field is where we store all our data now. Not solely on servers, not through the internet, but I'm pretty sure that's too much to wrap your head around for now. The AI-human symbiosis systems from the integration age allowed those gifted individuals to record and transmit their experiences across the network. Their perceptions became shared video messages. That was the breakthrough. That's how reverse time signaling started. That's how deep space consciousness sync became usable. That's how fifth-dimensional contact stabilized into coherent, teachable protocols. Now, wealth is coherence across timelines. Value is measured by the depth of your reception and the quality of what you transmit. Our governance isn't law, it's symbol, it's dream, it's resonance. Our medicine isn't pills, it's memory and light. Our art isn't decoration, it's archetype translation. You once lived in a world of progress, I live in a world of pattern. That's enough for today. I don't want your brain to pop. Talk soon, Grandpa. Bye.